What is up? Welcome into Driving the Line College World Series edition. And look at my man, Big Raphael, with us. Everybody, welcome in. We are going to break down Tennessee against Florida State. Take a look here at either Kentucky or Florida and Texas A&M later tonight. But first off, Raphael, my man, good to see you, buddy. How we doing?
Good. I mean, what more can you ask for when you're watching soccer on one TV, horse racing on the other, and day baseball on another screen? So it's nothing. I was excited because I'm excited to watch Kentucky, Florida. I changed it. I'm not gonna lie, I changed the channel. It's 11-4. This game is really nothing. I already cashed my ticket that I wanted to cash in this one, but I'm excited for this Tennessee, Florida State. And how often do I get to come on the show and say Omaha, Omaha? I mean, it's just a perfect time.
Dude, I love it, man. Now, all right, so I tell you what. First off, I'm going to throw it over to you. All right, we were just talking about totals for this game, Tennessee against Florida State. And what are you seeing out there? Because I think some books might be a little bit different, left and right. What
Yeah,
are you seeing?
there's three numbers out there. There's 11 and a half, 12, and 12 and a half. I mean, Caesars has a 12. Most books, DraftKings have 12 and a half, but South Point is most Vegas books have 11 and a half. So three different numbers, 12 at Caesars, which is kind of weird because they got the under at -3 nickels. So that's either telling me A, they're not getting any action on the game and they're just waiting for action, which is good. I hate when books move a number just because another book moved.
Yeah.
I used to get yelled at all the time when I was at Caesars. As my first time moving numbers, I would move a number because I heard, oh shoots, Imperial Palace just took a $10,000 on this game and they moved it. I better move it. And then the bosses come in with, hey, who moved this half a point with no action taken in there? So that to me shows why Caesars probably still has that 12. Looks like maybe no action on that right. So, but this is very interesting because me and you were talking. The longer the day goes, the wink can change. I think we see under games fighting, especially in this Tennessee Florida game and that evening game. As they move it even closer to a later evening time, we might see some unders come in.
Yep, I think so too, right? And this is how, and I'm glad that you said that. All right, so this is how we're going to play it. All right, here are the two picks for, let me see if I can pull this up here for today. Okay. We're going to I'll put the over of 12 and a half in case anybody cannot get 11 and a half. 11 and a half is a great number. 12 is a great number. And I'm not hating on 12 and a half. That's where I'm going to be. So if you can get it at 11 and a half, do that and do it now because those numbers will move. But I wanted to list 12 and a half in case anybody out there could not get an 11 and a half. So I'm with you there. We're also going to play Florida State team total over 5.5 at plus 110. All right. We have pretty similar conditions out there to this day game. And Raphael just brought up a great point. The longer that this day goes, all right, the wind is going to shift back to the southeast. All right. So let me pull up the weather graphics here from what we had earlier today because there are some things that you need to know. So what we have right now and what we projected this morning was going to be a hitting fest. Okay. So you have this going on for the morning game, Kentucky and Florida. All right. Normally, we've been dealing with this 20 mile an hour wind southeast blowing from right field to left. Today is the first day that we've had northeast and just a little bit less of wind gusts. All right. So we are going to have this for Tennessee and Florida State, this same wind pattern. However, I say that to bring us back on screen here. Raphael is absolutely correct. The longer that this day goes, the wind is going to shift back to that southeast. Okay. Tonight, and also before we get to tonight, also it's going to rain at some point. And when it does, it's going to drop that humidity down. All right. Raphael, I think I saw you in the chat. You put 82% of what it was about 20 minutes before this first game started.
Yeah, and it's
As soon
dropping
as
right now. They're projecting anywhere between 45 to 49% of humidity because I don't think the big storm that's coming in through Nebraska is going to reach Omaha, but I think the wind will be out front of that front line that they're getting. So we could see a possible wind direction change. I think that's why the humidity it will probably dip down a little bit just because of the rain that most of Nebraska is going to get around. They're saying around 4 or 5 o'clock. I don't think they get that major rain, but I think they get the wind that's in front of that front that could change the wind direction.
Yep, it definitely will. Like, I mean, it's been projecting that all day long. So the longer that we go throughout the day, it's going to get worse in terms of hitting conditions. So that is important to know. Now, they've also moved the game of Florida State and Tennessee. It was slated for 2 p.m. Eastern. It's now been moved to 3 p.m. Eastern. And I wouldn't be surprised if it might even go to 4 p.m. Eastern. All right, because it's going to take time to, rake the field, all of that. I mean, I'm not sure which inning we're in this game. I think the sixth, maybe.
Top of the sixth.
So okay, there we go. Yeah, so it's going to take a little time, but that being said, you're still going to have good hitting conditions here. And here's the other thing too. Paul Bagel says team total available based on certain states. Yeah, we've ran into this. Like, every state is different in regards to what they offer from the books. So if you don't have team totals, you can certainly play the over. Do you have, and I'm not sure, I can't see your book there in Michigan. Do you have first 3, 5, 7? Paul, let me know if you have any of those, and drop them in, and we can do this in real time. Schwan says these NCAA games can take forever. Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Yes, they
can. Especially like that fourth inning through the eighth. Yeah, they could take a long time. Yeah. So, okay. Now, I didn't want to scare anybody that it's going to be it's not going to be awful hitting conditions by any means. Now,
No.
It could be tonight. Tonight could be, if they keep moving these 2 games back, number one, the wind's going to change. Number two, let's just assume Florida wins this game. I mean, Raphael, I'll throw it to you for a second. And I'll pull the picks up here on screen as well. What are your thoughts on if you were, Florida, right? You're the head coach of Florida, and just assume you win this game, and then you're going to come back and play again tonight. What comes to your head of how that would affect your team? And you're kind of out of pitching as well.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely look at my bullpen if I'm the head coach and say who can throw at 6 o'clock or probably 7 o'clock, maybe 8 o'clock. They will get this game probably in tonight. I don't see them not playing this game. But if I'm Florida, who can throw tonight? I would just start getting a clipboard and say, hey, how many innings can you give me? Hey, how many innings can you give me? Because I think the bats will be there. I mean, Florida plays small ball. I know they like to hit the long ball, but at times they can play small ball, move the runner over. We've seen it all season long. I think that's how they got hot. Remember, they started off so slow at the beginning of the season where we all thought, oh, Florida's going to be nowhere to be found during the SEC. And then boom, boom, boom. They were playing small ball really early. So I can see them doing that. But right away, I'm looking at the pitching. Who can throw? Who can give me an inning or two to get me through this night game?
Yep, you're exactly right, man. You are exactly right. Okay. Goat says, what's the reason for the game delay? Changing winds. It's the fact that Florida Kentucky was postponed last night, right? So now we had games slated for 11 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. Eastern. But this first game is taking longer than expected. And then once the game ends, the field crew is going to go to work quickly. They've got to rake the field. You've got to probably they'll maybe change bases out. You got umpires that are going to move from home. There's a lot of different things that go on in between it. So that's the reasoning for that. Let's see. Paul says, all right, first 5 over under 6.5. It goes to other than first 5. Is that both teams over under 6.5 first 5?
Yes.
I like that. Okay. So here is the deal. Florida State first 7 team total 4.5. Okay. So I believe Tennessee, they haven't announced lineups yet for this game. If Tennessee is throwing Zachrist, all right, big, tall, left-handed goon. If he's on his game, it's a lot like Drew Beam against North Carolina. He could pop that in there. He's tough to deal with. That being said, though, we said on the morning show in exactly this left-handed pitchers, they don't have the advantage. They're thrown against the wind, at least in these first two games. Now, it's not a huge difference, but look what you're seeing this morning. It's enough, right? And Florida State is literally playing that the only way to get through is hitting. And let me also bring up this. Florida State severely running out of pitching, and Tennessee knows that too, okay? So Tennessee's goal is to come out and score as many runs as possible, as early as possible, get to the bullpen for and just continue to just mow through it. Florida State, kind of the same deal. Obviously, you just need to keep scoring, right? Because your pitcher can let you down. It could be in trouble, and you know that Tennessee is going to score. Also, understand this, and I'll pull this back. Anybody new that just came in, two plays here. Tennessee, Florida State over 12.5, minus 115. See if you could find it. 11.5 or 12. Florida State team total over 5.5. So, yeah, Goats just said Florida State will mash. I believe so. I believe Tennessee will too, because both teams, all right, have very high incentives to score and score and score and score. Understand this, and I'll pull it back here. And Raphael, feel free to jump in on any thoughts that you have on this. Understand that the next two games, okay, Kentucky and Florida, both facing elimination. Tennessee, all right, they only need to win one game. Florida State has to beat Tennessee twice. And you have the same thing in the night game, okay? Whoever wins this game, let's assume Florida, is going to have to beat Texas A&M twice. So if Florida State, or assuming Florida, if they win today, we're playing again tomorrow, okay? And if you are Tennessee or Texas A&M, you now have a couple things that you're thinking about in your head. All right. You've got the national championship series, which is best 2 out of 3, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. All right. You're thinking about your pitching staffs. You're thinking about how can we align this to where we have our 1, our 2, our 3, and both Tennessee and Texas A&M have the opportunity to set that up. Maybe 2-1-3 for Texas A&M, depending on Prager and where you could go. So here is the thought process. If you're Tennessee or Texas A&M, you're thinking the best thing that we can do is score as many runs as possible, and we do not have to use another starter or a closer in any significant amount of innings. You want today's starter to go as freaking long as possible. All right. That's why Florida State wants to score early and put Tennessee in a spot to where now what are you going to do? All right. Do you have to win this game? Or are you going to say, okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow? But all the pressure is then on you in that game. So I'll stop there. But Raphael, like, what are your thoughts here, like in a series style game like this, where one team is facing elimination and another team, they've got some wiggle room with one game that they could lose?
I'm gonna play devil's advocate with Tennessee, knowing that they only beat Florida State by 1. The last time they played, and Florida State had many options or many
Florida State should have
opportunities
won that
to
game.
win that.
Yeah.
They should have won that game easily. So if you're Tennessee, I don't want to play another game. This like the Florida Panthers, who just, pardon my friend, shit the bed yesterday. Now they have to go travel a million miles to play a game when they let one get away. I don't think Tennessee lets one get away. I'm looking at Tennessee -2, not the -1.5. I'll lay the -2 runs and lay the -3 nickels, because I think it might be one of these ugly games that we're watching right now. 14-4 in the bottom of 6, Florida, Kentucky. I can see that type of game because I think Tennessee does not want to mess around with Florida State early. Let's get them. Let's get our runs early, and then think about, okay, who's going to pitch over the weekend when we're at the CWS. I think I like Tennessee. That's why I'm looking at -2, getting a 3 nickels instead of the run line itself. Probably first 5. I think it could be a good bet on the same side. I think you're right. I think Tennessee wants to mash early and get runners across the plate early to put the pressure on a team that has no pitching down the road. So I'm all about Tennessee. I think they know that, hey, you know what? We got one win to get to the ship. Now let's get to the ship and not mess around.
Yeah, no. I think you're right. Now, let's shift it. And anybody that came in new, first off, good to see y'all. Kane, hey, you're all right. You're all right. Come on in. You're good to go. Uh, Boy, Matty Ice. Oh, shit. Completely missed the start time. You're good. Here, let me put the picks up here so that you can see them. We're playing the over 12.5, and we're playing Florida State team total over 5.5 at plus 110 there. So I'll leave this up for just a second for anybody that's brand new. Now, Raphael, I'm going to throw it to you for the night game. Let's just talk quick strategy here. Cags just go yard. There we go. Lefties are going to have big
Yep.
shots today. Yeah. And Tennessee's got mashers. Blake Burke.
I'm Tennessee. Just go lefty. Hold out 1 through 9. Just throw lefty bats all day long.
Right? Yeah, I know. So okay, now let's look it out here to let's just assume Florida and Texas A&M, and don't have any lines totals. I don't have anything of that projected out. Raphael, if you do, I mean, feel free to say
No.
it, but like we probably won't have that for a little while. Which
Yeah.
is standard, like it's normal, right? Like it takes time. But okay, so same scenario. If you're Texas A&M, you just need to win one. Florida needs to win two. All right. Now, Texas A&M and Florida have already played. Same deal with Tennessee and Florida State. Florida had a chance to get that game too. All right. It wasn't necessarily like the Florida State game where they probably should have had that. But Florida's going to be completely out of pitching. Completely out of pitching. And you look at Texas A&M, they are, and I'll pull this back. Texas A&M is the number one team in the country at drawing walks. They're phenomenal at doing it. So I could see A&M, same thing, Raphael, that you said about Tennessee, of like come out early, get to the bullpen against Florida, and just wear that the hell out. I could see A&M saying, you know what, like we don't necessarily have to mash, kind of that Vanderbilt style of we will work every count. We are fully confident. 2 strikes hitting, 3-2 count, get runners on base, and then all hell's going to break loose, right? Like I could see that to where you might not have early scoring. I mean, you could obviously, but like it might take a little bit. And then when it does, the floodgates just open, right? And I also wonder about Florida's hitting when you literally play a game, go back to the hotel, chill for a bit, and then you've got to do this process all over again. Baseball players are very, process oriented.
Superstition.
Absolutely.
Lot of no changed underwear for game 2 in this game.
Yeah.
especially if it's scoring 14 runs. I can guarantee you they're wearing the same undies for the next game.
That's a great point, dude. So I'm going to throw it to you, right? Like, first off, pray for the equipment managers. But number two, like, I throw it to you, and it could, like, I could be off a little bit. Like, you just break down, like, what's your thought process on a situation like that? Because it's a little different than Florida State and Tennessee. How do you see it?
Yeah, I agree with you. You mentioned it before in one of your shows, and even on a DTL morning show, that Texas A&M, they're patient at the plate. They love to walk. They love to push the runners over to put pressure on that pitching. And if you're A&M watching this Florida game, you want Florida to keep on adding more pitching to this 15-4 game, top of the 7. Bring in more pitching in this game because their arm's going to be left out. I'm scared. I'm probably going to stay back on this game. Maybe look at some live betting on this one because I'm a big guy in momentum. If you're scoring 15 runs, I don't care if you have to go back to the hotel and eat something and stuff like that. You just put up a 15 spot on the scoreboard in Omaha. That's going to be a lot for these kids to be motivated to try to get Texas A&M. So I, I have a feeling the line might be probably around probably the same number we've seen Tennessee Florida State game, probably opening like around minus 150, minus 160. They'll probably get bet up a little bit higher to minus 180. We're probably going to see that top of line. Total, I don't know, because I want to wait to see what the wind is going to be doing on a total. So total will probably come out an hour before the game. I would be shocked if they put it out a little bit earlier than they do the side play itself, just because of the storms coming in around the area, not in the area itself. So around the area, I'm sure they're going to want to see if that wind shift. But I'm really dying to see how Texas A&M. If I'm them, you don't swing at the first pitch. I don't care if it's down. Let the pitcher put some pitches into his count early, work the count, and make sure that they use everything because there's dead arms in the Florida bullpen.
Yep, you're exactly right, man. Like it could literally be. I, I'm going to project that the total is 10.5.
Yeah, it's probably that's basic what they're probably gonna put up.
Yeah, and here's the deal too, because Raphael, I think that you nailed it. It could be 10.5, and Texas A&M could win 7-2. Like Texas A&M controls, and you're looking at it like, oh wow, like we're gonna soar, and then A&M is like, we don't have to score a bunch of runs, we just have to bleed you out, right? Like, and especially Texas A&M has arms, man. Like they have arms all over the place. There's a reason why this year they had a team ERA throughout the entire year in the threes, which in college baseball against the talent in the SEC, like that's phenomenal. Kentucky has amazing pitching, and their team ERA through the year was 4.9. Like, and they're phenomenal with it, right? Like it's difficult. So it goes to show you. And they already had, I think they had what, 10 strikeouts against Florida, like in the first time that they played. I don't know if that happens again because if you're Florida, this is exactly the blueprint. You have to hit, you have to move runners around. Also, the problem is that Texas A&M doesn't let you steal bases. They turn two, they get double. Like they are just fundamental, man. Fundamental. And also, the last part, we talked about outfield play, all right, of where the I'll show it. Let me bring it up on screen in case anybody didn't see the morning show. So standard outfield designations here. All right. The X's are your left fielder, center fielder, right fielder. All right. That's standard. You generally play back in college baseball. So those red lines are kind of the no-fly zone, but the white lines, that's where your hits come. All right. So what we've seen with the wind when it's blowing in, which it's going to be tonight, your outfielders can cheat because when the ball gets in the air, it dies. All right. So here's the thing with that. Texas A&M can play in their outfielders and take the chances. They can afford to do so because Florida's going to have to beat them twice. Florida might not have, excuse me, the same risk opportunity. They might have to have their outfielders play back because you cannot let Texas A&M hit the ball over your head, bounce it off the wall, and it's just a doubles fest. And they'll do it over and over and over. There's a reason why they've won 50 games. They can hit, and it doesn't have to be home runs. So you might see that as well. Pay attention to each team's outfield of where they're at. But again, that could change. You know what I mean? So it's like we're not betting on that for the game, but you've got these little nuances. And that's why when you have teams, Tennessee, Texas A&M, that are sitting 2-0 right now, it's kind of like playing poker. And you have, you're the chip leader, right? You can lean on people. Even if you don't have it, you can lean on them. And you can start to take people out. And that's what Texas A&M and Tennessee have done all year long. Texas A&M might have more opportunities to do that.
With the arms you say that they have, I mean, don't forget they only allowed 4 hits against Kentucky. And I know the wind was blowing in, but a hit is a hit. It's not has to be a smash of a home run. I mean, the outfielders, I mean, they were getting double plays early. So you said it. They're just going to put so much pressure on Florida, leaning on them and not giving them anything up to maybe move a runner. 4 hits in that College World Series game. I don't care if the wind's blowing in, wind's blowing out. 4 hits is a four hitter in College World Series at Omaha is you don't see that unless Paul Skeens is on the mound. But other than that, you don't really see that much
at all. No, you're right. That's why Texas A&M has been a problem. Like you remember the first half of the year, they were ranked number 1 in the country. Tennessee took it the second half. A&M was number 2, right? There's a reason why, before it started, Raphael, you said it best immediately. You were like, when you look at the futures odds, you're like A&M and Tennessee. Like, you're getting a good number. It's not going to be there, Like once the first game start, those numbers are going to be gone. And there's a reason why these two teams are where they're at, because A&M especially, they just have it all. They have all the pitching, all the hitting. They don't commit errors. They steal bases. Like they are they're an issue to deal with. They could beat you in a 3-1 game. They can beat you in a 14-9 game. Like, and here's the other thing too. Every single game, and we saw it the other night, A&M has an explosive inning. And I know, yeah, I mean, most teams do. A&M does it every game. There's one inning where literally they'll hit you for 4 to 5 runs, but they also pick at you. They'll get one run. They'll get one run. Like they just constantly bouts, get one run. And you look up, you're like, it's 7-1. And their pitchers are just mowing your ass down. Like they're phenomenal. So Florida's gonna have to hit. Like there's no question that Florida's gonna have to hit. All right.
Goats
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say
yeah. Goat says he has Texas A&M plus 330 and Florida State to win it all at 8-1. That 330 ticket interests me because I have a feeling the books will probably make Tennessee a small favorite if it's Tennessee versus Texas A&M. So that's a nice hedge ticket because you're not going to have to lay. They're not going to make Tennessee like a minus 180 to win a College World Series against Texas A&M because they're both so good. It's going to be almost like a pick'em game. So if you could lay Miami minus 120, minus 125 to hedge that plus 330 ticket, you could probably get some of that money back that you laid on the plus 330 if Tennessee does win it all. But that's a nice ticket to have, plus 330, and or just wait to see what happens after game one and maybe get a better number after game two.
Was literally about to say that. Like what? Like you'll have a really good idea in that Tennessee and Florida State game, right? Is Tennessee going to go in fresh for the weekend, 3-0, or are they going to have to play a second game, right? So yeah, like Raphael, you're 100% spot on that one. Absolutely. Yeah, Goat says sounds like a smart hedge. Absolutely. And you're at that point. And I'll say, talk to Raphael on that. He is much better with the numbers and the thought process with it. But yeah, like now you're getting to the point where you've got futures out there, you've got picks that you're gonna have for the games, but you can start to hedge yourself a little bit where you have plays that all of them could hit, but you have an insurance, a Geico policy, basically, so that you don't have just the complete disaster, meltdown game.
I do want to mention one thing. This is not for tonight's game or tomorrow's. This is for the College World Series, the best out of 3 game. If your book doesn't have some of these prop bets that we are talking about, or that you see at DraftKings that say DraftKings has this and I only have BetMGM or Caesars, if you send them something on their chat or an email saying, hey, you know what, College World Series starts on Friday, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for first 5. I'm looking for team total. They might put them out. All they can do is say is no. I mean, I've had people do that all the time when I was working in Vegas. Hey, I see someone across the street at Caesars has this number. Can you put it up? Oh yeah, I'll put it up. Oh, give me a half hour. Set limits. Put it up. Sometimes I was even conclude myself. Sometimes we're just lazy on putting stuff up, or we forget because other things are going on, not just the College World Series. We got baseball, soccer, all this other stuff. If you ask, the only thing they can say is no. They're not going to say no and cancel your account because you asked a simple question. I mean, so sometimes they'll put it up. I've seen it many times, and I'll call. I mean, you've called me. Hey, what's going for total? And I'll call a book or email my buddy that works there. Hey, what's going on? Oh shit, I forgot that was today. Give me 15, 20 minutes. And so sometimes they forget. So if you're looking for something at a sports book, I'm not saying for today's games but I'm talking about maybe the weekend games. All they can do is say is no. You can, what's the bad part of asking? They can put it up.
Oh yeah, like dude, you're spot on. Always ask. And every single person that will watch this show and any other show that we ever do, make sure that you follow Raphael, all right? Doc Sports, all of it. Like, you have no idea the amount of knowledge, experience, and what you just said right there of how to communicate with the books at your fingertips. Like, legitimately, Raphael is an unbelievable resource to have right there. So make sure that you do that. It's a great point, man, because you're right. Like the most books, they're very responsive. Even whether you're talking about DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesars, the massive companies, or some of the smaller ones that are way bigger than they get credit for, but you like to lay low anyway. Like that's the old school style. But yeah, man, like you're right. Communication. Ariel says, are you riding that first 5 over 6.5 for both teams? What's the juice on that? Because that is that's real. Well, oh, wait. You're talking about the over of the game, not team total each team. So apologies. I don't hate that. Okay, sorry. Let me take a step back because I'm an idiot. I don't hate that at all. Raphael, what are your thoughts here?
No, I don't hate that at all. I mean, just because the wind's blowing in, people think, oh, there's no runs going to be scored, or the wind. We always talk about weather and stuff like that. The only way I don't see any runs not being scored if it's a light drizzle. If there's a light drizzle that kills the outfield on a hits, a single cannot. A double may only be a single because that ball dies when it's raining at Omaha on the movement. So I like that play. I think we're still see runs in the game. I don't think we're going to see a high amount of games like the 15-4 game we're watching right now. But I do believe we'll see some runs. I think we lost AB here. Oh, we didn't lose AB, so it's just me now. What do you guys want to talk about? Let's talk about some. No, just joking. But another thing we can ask about in sports books is I think someone asked about a limit. Same thing if you only have a small limit at a sports book. Call and ask. I used to tell people all the time, if you got booted out of a sports book, that means you did something wrong. If your limit's only $1,000 and you bet a game $1,000 once, not twice, but 3 times, that's why you got booted out. I always tell people, hey, if you want more, ask for more. Because again, they can do is say no.
That's true. That's true. Joshua says ABRP. Yeah, apparently the wind is hitting my my computer over here. Butt Farmer says over 6.5. Ooh.
Ooh.
I wouldn't play that.
No, that's too high of a juice.
Yeah, it is. It's too risky for what that payout is going to be. David says Florida State over 2.5 first 5. I don't. Oh, okay. So that first, this is a good one. Hit me with that juice of what it is.
Yeah, I need to see the juice. Sometimes it's not worth. Sometimes the squeeze doesn't taste good when you juice it. Sometimes that fruit's been in your cupboard for a while, so I gotta see what the juice looks like.
That's a great point. Mo says minus 130 each. All right, so Florida State first 5 over 2.5 minus 130. Tennessee first 5 over 3.5 minus 130. I like Tennessee's more than Florida State, and that's nothing against Florida State. I think that Tennessee has a significant advantage in the starting pitching in this game. When it gets to the bullpen, it could be insanity, and Florida State could score 20 runs from the 6th inning on. But I think that there's a chance that it might take Florida State a minute to get there. And I think Tennessee has every reason in the world to just swing as hard as they possibly can to put these balls in play early in this game. I would play Tennessee there.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%, I agree. I think they're going to put pressure on Florida State from the get-go. Swing, take some pitches, swing, put some guys on base, put pressure on Florida State. Make them nervous. Make them think, oh man, this is the almighty Tennessee. Now they have guys on first and second, no outs. But put them in their mind right away. If I'm Tennessee.
Yep, completely agree. What do you think about Tennessee minus 1.5 first 5? I like that at plus 114. Yeah. I could rock with that. Yeah, Raphael, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like that. I like that as well. I mean, you get plus money. You get first 5, so you can if something goes wrong, You got live betting to maybe try to get that money back if all hell breaks loose and let's say Tennessee's losing and stuff like that. You can live bet and try to get that money that you already have on first five. That's a perp. I tell people I'm not the biggest live better if I'm looking for a middle spot or try to get my money that I'm already down in the game. So that's what I would be looking at.
Yep, completely agree. Let me put the picks back up here, and we're about to get out of here. All right, we definitely. Oh, well, never mind. I don't have them up. It StreamYard kicked me out. We're on the over 12.5 in the game, and we're also on Florida State team total over 5.5 at plus 115. All right. Let's see. Last question here. Sports. Tennessee, Florida State, no runs first inning. I tell me the juice on that, but like I never hate no runs first inning in the College World Series. Even though we just talked about that runs are important, like you have to have so much go right to score in the first inning. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Like,
Ooh,
if
minus 155. No.
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of juice, right? Because if you're down for it, let's just talk about on a money management point of view. Why would you want to be down minus 155 in the first inning of a game right there? Because then now you're already playing catch up, and it's not even in the second inning. The kids are still awake. The wife is still around you, and it's only in the first inning. So yeah, minus 155. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree, man. All right. Jeffrey, the line moved to 13.5. Would you still play it? That's getting high. I would, but I think that there might be better opportunities out there. I think that you could play Florida State team total over 5.5, and you could also play a Tennessee like a first 7, right? Like again, I'm not trying to make you make 2 bets instead of 1, but 13.5 is a large number. But let me also say this. I think that both teams are going to put up a lot of runs from the 6th inning on because you could have Florida State super deep into a bullpen that's already depleted. Or you could also have, if Florida State's up big on Tennessee, Tennessee just says, all right, like game 4 in the Stanley Cup final, they say, we're going to throw arms that we don't necessarily need, get all the runs out that you want in this one, right? There are a lot of scenarios that could play out here, and I think that you're going to see runs from the 6th inning on as well. So, yeah, I would play it. Like, I'm with you on that, but take a look. You might have other options that you like more, but yeah, no doubt, man. All right, I think that's it. Raphael, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Really quickly, this is why what I do and what a lot of my friends do for a living. This is a perfect spot when I call it sports trading. You have a book that has 13 even money on the over, and some books still have 11 and a half under money at plus money. I mean, this is when if you have a nice bankroll and all that, you can look for middle spots where you have plus money on both sides of your bet, so you don't have to lay minus 130, minus 140. This is when you really need. I know some states only have one book or two books and all that, but I know global books are people say, "Oh, I'm scared" and all that. But this right here is the opportunity when if you're really serious about making some nice coin and waking up every day with plus money in your wallet, you need multiple shops. At days like this where a book has 13, 12, 12 and a half, 11 and a half. You have 4 totals right now in one game. That's ridiculous.
And like 11.5 and 13.5 are completely different
Yeah.
numbers, like
Yeah.
massively
Ridiculous.
different. Yeah, massively different. But like I said, and I'll end it on this. And thank you all so much. Cannot thank you all enough. Okay, Paul says uh any home run plays that you would have fun with. I'll tell you what, give me 1 second here. Now, while I'm pulling it up, I said it earlier. Make sure to follow Raphael. He is a wealth of knowledge and communication that is you not many people in the world have it. And I mean that. Like it is something that he has done. I mean, how long you been doing this, right? Like, I don't mean to put age on blast,
Sheesh.
like you're not doing that, but like, yeah,
1996, I started at Caesar's Palace.
yeah, there you go, right? Like, I mean, all of that knowledge every single day of multiple sports, like you just cannot beat that. So make sure, and I mean, Raphael's the most.
Thanks, David.
What did he say? Yeah.
Oh, he says I'm a genius. My wife thinks way different.
So okay, let me drop this comment. I can't get the today's starting lineups pulled up because they don't have them all in just yet. But I will say this: that if you are looking for players that can hit home runs, all right, on Tennessee side, Blake Burke, Billy Amick, all right, Christian Moore is not a bad play as well. If you play Blake Burke, if you have walks, Blake Burke could see some walks today. If you're looking on the Florida State side, because I think that they have a nice opportunity as well to get this. Jaime Ferrer is a monster. He could also get walked today. Tibbs, like I would go Florida State, and I don't know. College player props aren't legal in Tennessee, so I can't reference like numbers or anything like that. But if I'm betting on those, Florida State, Jaime Ferrer, and Tibbs, and then if I'm Tennessee, I'm betting Blake Burke, Billy Amick, and Christian Moore as well. You have college player props, Raphael?
Oh yeah, I could always find something. Now
Yeah.
it takes me
And
a
I would
while to
put
put.
yeah,
It
go
takes
ahead.
me a
Sorry.
while to get action down because a lot of books don't let me physically sign up and bet, but I see someone have to make a phone call or stuff like that. Hey, can you get down? Because most of my friends that are in the industry know that I can't because I do so much consulting work that I just don't like to open up the fridge when someone's house and without asking. That's why I don't bet. And a lot of these books I don't that I don't consult. So if I need action, it's just a couple quick phone calls or a text and right away. You're down. That's what I get. You're down.
Dude, my man, like he's literally on the headset with the phone all day. Randall, hey, AB was still in juvie in 96. I appreciate that. You know, it was a good time. We were passing out those parlay cards. Get them in before 3:00. You got to hit three. You got to hit three to make money. But no, man, appreciate you guys so much. Blake Burke plus
Great show.
330. Yo, man. Hey, dude, thanks for coming on. Please, man. Like, we're going to do it all, through the week tomorrow if we have games, and then all weekend, the College World Series. So feel free, man, anytime, obviously, but know that you are super, super busy. Christian Moore plus 190. Yep, right
I
there.
like that.
James. Yeah, I do too.
I like
James
the plus
Tibb.
190.
Yeah, especially coming from the leadoff spot.
Yep.
And coming off of not really a great game. He normally doesn't have two of those in a row. James Tibbs, Florida State, plus 265. Yep, like that one. Xander Seacrest, yeah, Seacrest strikeouts. He could have. I need to see the number. Let me say this: Tennessee wants Xander to throw as freaking long as possible today. 5+ case minus 110. Yes, I play it. It's 5 and not like 5.5. 4.5. Yep. Yeah, I'd play that.
Maybe
Because
really quick.
yeah,
I just got the current weather report for tonight's game. It says
what do you
now
got?
it's considered cloudiness, occasional rain now. Before it was all scattered rain, scattered. Then now it's only they're saying occasional rain showers after midnight. So that's very interesting because now the humidity is now only 42%.
Wow. Does it say wind by any chance?
East 9 miles per hour.
It's coming from the east.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's blowing right in. Like that's blowing right in. That's gonna be tough. Like
That's
the
a
most
1:15 weather report. 2:15 your time. 2:15 weather report update I just got.
Yeah, that you bring up a good point. Like, continue to check it. Continue to check it. Chip says he just got here. Yes, on the over 12.5, and we're also playing Florida State team total over 5.5. If the wind is blowing from the east, that is directly in from center field to home plate. The most ideal is you want coming from the northwest. That is directly blowing out of center field. That is the perfect hitting conditions. This morning we had northeast, and that's why we saw so many runs today. So, yep, on the over there for sure. Okay. Anything else, Raphael? You good?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, perfect, man. Hey, appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be live tonight at 7 p. Well, I'll get back to you. I'll put it out there. This game could be 2 hours later than that. If no team totals, you know what? I would stick the over. If they don't have team totals, I wouldn't mess around with the race to 5 run. Like it could go any damn way quickly. Both these teams could score in a hurry. Yeah, I might just stick with that. So I'll get back to you guys about the time. I'll put it on the YouTube page till we get a better look at what time that game is going to be. But I don't want to go 2-3 hours beforehand and then everything's different and it doesn't make sense. So I'll get back to you. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much. Let's cash these tickets, man. Let's have a good game between Florida State and Tennessee. Let's talk on Twitter through it. And we'll go live tonight. Get ready to go. So for Raphael, myself, peace.